our last section is on anaerobic respiration. And anaerobic, remember, means without oxygen, without air. So, what are some conditions where it may be important to do respiration without oxygen? So, for example, when you're working out, if you are not breathing properly or you have not thoroughly stretched before a workout, your muscles may be starved of oxygen during that workout. Bacteria in a lot of extreme environments can't have oxygen present, and so they're going to do this process. And then in early Earth, oxygen was very limited because plants weren't doing photosynthesis at a high rate yet. So a lot of the early organisms on Earth did anaerobic respiration. Okay, so there's two kinds of fermentation, which is what anaerobic respiration is. The first is called lactic acid fermentation, and this is what your muscles will do when they're starved. This is what a lot of bacteria do. This is why bacteria can turn milk and sugar into yogurt, which has lactic acid in it, which gives it that sour flavor. Okay, or you can do alcoholic fermentation, which is going to help us with breads. It allows bread to rise. Okay, so that's a huge deal. Obviously, to create alcoholic beverages, wine and beer and such, and then also to produce biofuels like ethanol. All right, so the first one, lactic acid. So if you remember back from the last section, glycolysis is going to happen in the cytoplasm of the cell, and it's going to break glucose down into pyruvic acid or pyruvate. Okay, and we said if oxygen's not present, it can't go onto the Krebs cycle. So what it's going to do instead is it's going to turn that pyruvate into lactic acid, and that is going to be able to store better in your body. Okay, so it's going to use some energy in order to do that. So in your cell, what's happening in glycolysis, you made some ATP, so you're going to get a little bit of energy from that, and you made NADH at glycolysis. So you're going to have to use that NADH in order to make lactic acid, and so really the only thing that you get out of this is like 2 ATP. It's not very much, but it's preventing your body from basically building up this pyruvic acid, which is going to be really harmful. Okay, once oxygen becomes present, this is a reversible process. So you can turn that lactic acid back into pyruvate and then send that to the Krebs cycle so you can get all the energy out. Because the goal of cell respiration is to make that 38 ATP. You need all of that energy. And if you're not moving on to Krebs cycle, you're not making very much energy. Okay, so this is only kind of like a last-ditch resort. For bacteria, they don't really need all that energy. So this is a really simple process for them to do. So this is why after a workout and if you're not stretching properly and stuff, then lactic acid builds up in your muscles and causes them to cramp up. But if you stretch it out and drink lots of water and breathe and things like that, then it's going to revert back to pyruvic acid. Okay. The other option is the pyruvate can turn into ethanol and carbon dioxide. Now we're going to use NADH again. You still made ATP in glycolysis, but this is a one-way street because you get rid of some CO2 as waste, and you can't get that back once you release it. And then you're creating ethanol as a product. Okay? So this is done by yeast in breads and alcohols. And so this is what creates carbonation, why beer is carbonated. And then the ethanol is kind of like your final product. But for like bread products, this CO2 helps bread to rise. It's this gas that causes it to rise, so that we have fluffy bread. And the ethanol is cooked out of bread, so you're not going to actually like be drinking ethanol when you eat bread. But that's what gives it that aroma when it's cooking too that everyone loves. Okay, so pros and cons. Aerobic respiration is just going to release a ton of energy and it's super efficient. You're getting every single drop of energy out of a molecule of glucose. And so you're getting just flooded with energy, which is great. Anaerobic is good if you are in an extreme environment and there's no oxygen present, and it's kind of a way for you to save yourself. And it allows your cells to survive while they're being stressed out. Like if they, during a workout when it's being starved of oxygen, it's going to be a way to preserve it, but you're not getting energy out of it. So your body does not want to do this. For simple organisms like yeast and bacteria, they get a little energy out, and that's all they need. So they don't have to do this full blown process. Okay, so just a reminder, a quick overview. Cell respiration done by every organism on Earth, pretty much, except for the chemotrophs. So basically, you have to use glucose in order to get energy. Photosynthesis is only done by the autotrophs, and um, all of that is aerobic, okay, done in the presence of oxygen. Cell respiration, if you're not being exposed to oxygen, you're going to do anaerobic respiration. And that is the end.